Venezuela is in chaos. Just hours after their controversial presidential election, protesters took to the streets demanding the end of President Nicolas Maduro's reign, all as National Guard troops have been summoned to suppress the uprising. We're going to take a look at the latest on what's happening in Venezuela and what it all means going forward. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you stay sane in these increasingly insane times. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, with all of the chaos that's breaking out all around us, are you prepared for handling medical emergencies if things were to go awry? Well, no, you can be, thanks to the wellness company. They've given me and my family the peace of mind to handle any medical crisis. From tick bites to the next pandemic, the wellness company's medical emergency kit is a true lifeline. It's chock full of essential meds like ivermectin and antibiotics, antivirals, and more. This kit gives you real peace of mind for this area of preparedness. And the wellness company is a team of renowned medical professionals, including Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. James Thorpe, Dr. Harvey Risch, Dr. Drew Pinsky, and even more truth-seeking doctors. This medical emergency kit they've designed sets the gold standard for safety and prevention. So, gang, don't wait until the next crisis is here. Get peace of mind now by visiting twc.health/Turley and use code Turley for an exclusive $45 off and free shipping. You heard that right. Use promo code Turley for $45 off and free shipping. I've got my emergency pack. Now it's your turn. Click on that link below right now. A civil war is breaking out in Venezuela. Over the weekend, Venezuelans went to the polls for their presidential elections, which were already rather suspect. The opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, she's very, very popular, but she wasn't allowed to run against the socialist president, Nicolas Maduro, who's running for re-election, because she was found guilty by Venezuela's high court of, well, basically treason for supporting the U.S.-led sanctions on the Maduro government. So another candidate ran in her place, an elder fellow by the name of Gonzalez, and all the exit polls reportedly showed that they were winning by a landslide. But instead, the Maduro government was announced the winner with 51% of the vote. And it didn't take long for things to absolutely explode. Venezuelans across the country took to the streets in a massive show of defiance against the Maduro regime, clashing with police who were firing back with tear gas. There have been a number of videos showing several statues of President Maduro being torn down by angry mobs. We're also seeing images of building long banners of Maduro being torn down throughout various cities in a clear act of defiance against the regime. There are now reports that even members of the Venezuelan National Guard are defying Maduro's orders to suppress the protests and are, in fact, joining up with them in their protests. Elon Musk, he's been on the forefront for calling for Maduro to step down. He tweeted out, "If the military supports the will of the people, it is over for Maduro." Now, it's tweets like that that are obviously getting under Maduro's skin. Check it out.
¿Y la realidad virtual quién la controla? Nuestro nuevo archienemigo, el célebre Elon Musk, que desesperado da la cara y él quisiera venirse con sus cohetes y con un ejército a invadir Venezuela. Elon Musk, menos mal que diste la cara, porque sabíamos que tú estabas detrás de todo, Elon Musk, con tu plata, con tu satélite. Pretende él controlar al mundo. Ya controla Argentina, Elon Musk. Va por el litio de ustedes, pueblo argentino. Ya controla Ecuador. Es la representación de la ideología fascista en el mundo. El poder económico respaldando la ideología fascista de extrema derecha.
If you're listening by way of our 20 million podcast downloads, that was Maduro accusing Musk of being the arch enemy of the Venezuelan people. He claims that Musk is the one who actually controls virtual reality, meaning Twitter. He wants to invade Venezuela with his rockets and army, and that he is the representation of the fascist ideology of the world. Yeah, don't hold back, Maduro. Tell us what you really think of Elon Musk. But we talked about this in yesterday's video. What you just heard there from Maduro, that is absolutely essential for understanding the reason for the success that Chavez and Maduro have enjoyed over the last 2 decades. So we have to remember, if we're going to understand what's really going on here, gang, we have to remember that the Venezuelan people are deeply suspicious of our own government, just as we are. They're just as prone to believe that our deep state interferes into their politics as we are with our politics. That's very important to make sure we really understand the full dynamics of what's happening here. There is a very, very deep suspicion and distrust that many Venezuelan people have of the United States government interfering in their political affairs. Now, the difference, of course, is that for them, that distrust involves an external threat, a foreign adversary, whereas for us, that distrust is internal. It remains a domestic affair. But what you just heard there from Maduro and his rant against Elon Musk is actually indicative of precisely this kind of wider resentment against U.S. power that runs very deep among Venezuelans. And in recent years, especially with the rise of Russia and China working closely with Venezuela with the goal of eventually bringing Venezuela into BRICS. Again, we talked about that in yesterday's video, the BRICS economic bloc. With all of those efforts, the situation, the economic situation in Venezuela has actually gotten better over the last few years with the rise of multipolarity and with the rise of new opportunities for economic cooperation that's been able to largely bypass Washington's sanctions against Venezuela. So we talked about this again yesterday, but in contrast to the tumultuous and impoverished years of the Chavez regime, Maduro's Venezuela, its economy has actually been growing. Oil production's been increasing. Venezuela has the highest oil reserves in the world. Their inflation is more and more coming under control. So again, in fairness, and that's the key, I want to make sure we understand the clashing dynamics here. In fairness, in the name of appreciating the complexities of the situation, Maduro has been very successful in recasting the enemy, not as himself, not as the socialist regime, but the enemy is a foreign enemy. The enemy is external. It's a foreign threat. And the Chavez-Maduro government is the only thing that stands in between that external threat and the Venezuelan people. And you just heard it right there. You just heard it in his rant against Elon Musk. That's exactly what's kept the socialist regime afloat over the last 2 decades. So the success of externalizing the threat accounts for the significant support that the Maduro regime continues to receive, though clearly that support does not appear to be in the majority, or at least, at the very least, it is coming under severe contestation. But it is the prerequisite for keeping Maduro in power, even with this mass uprising. Who, of course, see Maduro, the uprisers, the protesters, see Maduro as the true threat. They don't see the United States as a threat. Maduro is the true threat. So they don't see the threat as external. They see it right there in Caracas. All right, it's internal. So all of that is to say is that we have the makings of a very, very serious situation breaking out in Venezuela that threatens to only escalate from here.